My girlfriend insisted we take a relationship break but still live together. I said okay, but we need a roommate agreement. She laughed and signed. She stopped laughing when she got a bill for her half of the rent, utilities, and groceries effective immediately. I should have seen the signs when Brienne started working late with her new mentor Colton from the marketing department. But love makes you stupid, right? We had been together for 3 years, living together for 2. Everything was split 70-30. I paid 70% of everything because I made more as a software developer while she was a junior graphic designer. I did not mind. That is what partners do. You support each other. You make it work. 3 weeks ago, she sat me down with what was clearly a rehearsed speech. I need space to find myself. We should take a relationship break but stay roommates. It is practical and mature. I stared at her across our kitchen table, the same table where we had eaten breakfast together every morning for 2 years. You want to break up but keep living together. It is not breaking up. It is a pause, like hitting refresh on us. We stay friends, keep the apartment, and see where things go naturally. No pressure, no expectations. Just 2 people figuring themselves out. Translation. She wanted to test drive Colton while keeping her safety net, while keeping me paying most of the bills, while keeping the comfortable apartment she could not afford on her own. I could see it so clearly now, all those late nights. All those times she came home smelling like cologne that was not mine. All the times she was too tired for us but somehow had energy to go out with work friends. Okay, I said calmly. But if we are not partners anymore, we are roommates, we need a formal agreement. She actually laughed, like I had just told the funniest joke she had ever heard. You are such a dork, fine, whatever makes you feel better. I spent that entire evening drafting a comprehensive roommate agreement, nothing vindictive, just standard roommate stuff that you would find in any shared living situation. 50 split on all household expenses. Separate food and groceries unless agreed upon, guest policies and quiet hours, shared space cleaning schedule, 30-day notice required for moving out, no overnight guests more than 2 nights per week. I made it professional, thorough, the kind of document that would hold up if needed. The next morning I printed 2 copies. Brienne barely glanced at it. This is so extra, she said, signing with a flourish. But sure, if it helps you process the transition. I smiled. Just want clear boundaries since we are starting fresh. That was Wednesday. Thursday morning I woke up to an empty bed and moved my stuff to the spare room. By Thursday evening, I had calculated her half of rent at $1,100, itemized the utility bills. Her half came to $127. Separated the groceries with labels on my shelf versus hers. Created a Venmo request for her portion. Friday morning, I left the invoice on the kitchen counter with a sticky note, due by the 1st per our agreement. She found it when she got home from her work dinner at 11 at night. I was in my room reading when I heard her storming down the hall. What the hell is this? Your half of the expenses, the agreement we signed. That was just, I thought you were being dramatic. I did not think you would actually. You literally signed it. I showed her the document with her signature, but you have always paid more. Her voice had this edge of disbelief, like she genuinely could not comprehend why things had changed. That was when you were my girlfriend, now you are my roommate. Roommates split things equally. Her face went through about 17 different emotions in the span of 5 seconds. Confusion, anger, disbelief, more anger, then something like panic. I cannot afford $1,227 right now. Maybe you should have thought about that before suggesting we become roommates. She stormed off to her room. 20 minutes later, I heard her on the phone with Colton. He is being such a child about this. No, I can totally crash at your place for a while. What do you mean your roommate would not be cool with that? I thought you lived alone. You said you lived alone. Guess Colton's living situation was not as available as she thought. I almost felt bad, almost. Then I remembered her laughing while signing the agreement, remembered her saying it was just to make me feel better, like my feelings were some cute quirk to be managed. Update 1. The entitlement reached astronomical levels pretty quickly. First, she tried the guilt approach, made her specialty dinner using ingredients I had bought before the agreement. Lit candles, wore the dress I used to love, the whole production. I miss us, she said, reaching across to touch my hand. Maybe we moved too fast with this whole break thing. Maybe we should just forget about it and go back to normal. I am respecting your need for space. I replied, pulling my hand back gently. As roommates, do not be like that. Like what? Honoring your boundaries? She huffed and walked away, then ate the entire dinner herself out of spite. That was $30 of food she just consumed. I added it to her tab. She did not find that notation amusing when I slipped the updated invoice under her door the next morning. Then came the practical warfare. She forgot to transfer her half of rent. When reminded, claimed her banking app was glitching for 5 days apparently. She started using my expensive shampoo, the good stuff that cost $28 a bottle. I moved it to my room. She complained I was being petty. I pointed to section 3.2 of our agreement. Personal items remained separate unless explicitly shared. She invited Colton over a lot, like every single night. They would watch TV at maximum volume. Order takeout and leave boxes everywhere. Make obvious noises that I absolutely did not need to hear through the walls. I started documenting everything per our noise violation clause. Time-stamped notes, photos of the mess in common areas, noise level recordings on my phone. The best part came when her mom called me. Brienne tells me you are being financially abusive. How so? Making her pay half of everything when you make more money. That is not fair. You are supposed to take care of her. She wanted to be roommates. Roommates split costs equally. That is how shared living arrangements work, but you are supposed to be her partner. You are supposed to protect her and provide for her. I am respecting her decision to pause our romantic relationship. This is what she asked for. This is manipulation. This is you punishing her because your ego cannot handle a strong, independent woman who needs space. She literally asked for this exact arrangement. I have the signed agreement. The call ended abruptly. I could hear her mom in the background starting to yell at Brienne. That conversation did not go the way Brienne had hoped. Friday night was when things really escalated. Brienne had her friends over, Adeline, Thea, and Portia, for wine night. They got progressively more drunk and progressively louder. I was in my room trying to work on a coding project, but I could hear every word through my door. I cannot believe he is making you pay half. Adeline said, so toxic, like he is literally financially abusing you. Men are so threatened by independent women. Thea added, they cannot handle when we want space to grow. They have to control everything. You should sue him for emotional distress, Portia suggested, or at least report him to someone. Does he even let you use the kitchen? I heard he labels his food now like grow up. I was sitting there recording everything on my phone. One party consent state. I knew this might come in handy eventually. They got louder and meaner as the wine flowed. Then Brienne said something that changed the entire game. Whatever. In 3 weeks when the lease renews, I am going to tell him I am not resigning unless things go back to how they were. He cannot afford this place alone, not on his own. He will cave. He always caves. I stopped the recording, pulled up my laptop. The lease renewal was indeed coming up in 3 weeks. But here is what Brienne did not know. I had been saving that extra 70% for months, ever since I first noticed her getting distant. Ever since the late nights started, some part of me knew this was coming even if I did not want to admit it. I had plenty saved for a deposit on a new place. I started apartment hunting that night while they were still drinking and laughing in the living room, found 3 promising options within an hour. Update 2, I found the perfect apartment by Monday morning. Same neighborhood, actually a nicer building with a gym and a rooftop deck. And $300 less per month than our current place. Put down the deposit immediately. Meanwhile, Brienne escalated to DEFCON 1. She started bringing Colton over every single night. They would cook elaborate meals using my cookware, my good nonstick pans, my cast iron that I had spent years seasoning perfectly. They would leave dishes everywhere and disappear into her room. The noise was obviously intentional at this point. Loud music, louder conversations. Other sounds I really did not need to document but did anyway for the noise violation log. Tuesday I sent her a formal notice about the lease, printed it out, left it on the kitchen counter where she would see it. Per our roommate agreement section 8.1, this serves as my 30-day notice that I will not be renewing the lease. Please confirm your plans by end of day Friday so the landlord can be properly notified. She burst into my room without knocking about 10 minutes after reading it. What the hell is this? 30-day notice. It is in the agreement we both signed. You cannot just leave. You cannot just abandon the apartment. Section 8.1. Either party may terminate the living arrangement with 30 days written notice. Where am I supposed to live? Her voice was rising, getting shrill. You could renew the lease yourself or find a new place. You have 30 days to figure it out. I cannot afford $2,200 a month alone. You know I cannot afford that. Maybe Colton can move in with you. Her face went pale. He has a lease. He cannot just break his lease. That would cost him money. You are doing this to punish me. You are doing this because you cannot handle me being with someone else. I am doing this because I want to live somewhere without hearing my ex-girlfriend have sex through the walls every night. That is not punishment. That is called self-preservation. She started crying, not sad tears, angry tears, the kind that come with a red face and clenched fists. You are ruining everything. My whole life is here, my routine, my home. I am respecting your decision to be roommates. Roommates move out sometimes. That is how it works. You can choose to stay or go, but I am leaving. She slammed my door so hard a picture fell off the wall in the hallway. That night she had a complete meltdown with Colton. I heard everything through the walls. Sometimes living in a cheap apartment with thin walls has its advantages. He is abandoning me. Cannot you get out of your lease? What do you mean you live with your ex? You said you lived alone. She is just a roommate now. Why cannot I stay there? What do you mean she would not be comfortable with that? You told me you had your own place. Apparently Colton's living situation was way more complicated than he had led Brienne to believe. He was still living with his ex-girlfriend Reese. They were on a break. Sound familiar? He had been telling Brienne he lived alone. Had been making Reese stay at her sister's place whenever Brienne was supposed to come over. The whole thing was a house of cards and it was starting to collapse. Wednesday Brienne tried a new tactic. She called my brother Jerome. Jerome is protective of me, but he is also a straight shooter. He texted me within minutes. Bree says you are kicking her out. What is going on? Not kicking her out, not renewing our lease. She has 30 days to figure out her living situation. She is crying, saying you are being heartless, that you are punishing her for wanting space. She wanted to be roommates. I became a roommate. Now I am moving out like roommates do. Oh man, that is savage. I love it. Mom wants to know if you need help moving, by the way. Thursday was when Brienne went nuclear. I came home from work to find my entire gaming setup moved to the living room. My PlayStation, my monitor, my gaming chair, all of it. With a little sign that said communal property now in Brienne's handwriting. Share and share alike roommate. I took photos, then moved everything back to my room, left her an invoice for $50. Unauthorized touching of personal property fee as outlined in Section 4.3 of our agreement. She came storming in. There is no Section 4.3, you are making this up. I showed her the agreement. There absolutely was. She had signed it without reading past the first page. That is on you for not reading what you sign. This is insane. This is actually insane behavior. You need help. I need roommates who respect boundaries and pay their rent on time. Friday she did not come home. Crashed at Adeline's apartment apparently. But Saturday morning she was back with reinforcements. Her dad Robert and her brother Devin. They were standing in the living room when I came out for coffee. You need to be reasonable about this. Robert said. He had his arms crossed, trying to look intimidating. I am being reasonable. She cannot afford to stay here alone. You know she cannot afford it. Then she should move to somewhere she can afford. She should not have to uproot her entire life because you are being petty about a temporary break. You are a grown man, act like it. She uprooted our relationship. I am just following her lead. She wanted to be roommates. I am being a roommate. Devin tried to get in my face, stepped close, trying to use his height to intimidate. You are really going to leave a woman homeless? What kind of man does that? She has a job. She has savings. She has 30 days to find a place. She is not homeless, she has options. She is just upset that those options are not as convenient as having me pay for everything. You are supposed to protect her, to take care of her. From the consequences of her own choices, no, I am not doing that anymore. Robert's face got red. What kind of man are you? What did we raise her to expect if not a man who stands by his woman? The kind who respects when a woman says she wants independence. She wanted space. I am giving her space, 30 days of it. They left after more posturing and veiled threats. Brienne was sobbing in her room. I felt bad for exactly 2.3 seconds, until I remembered that she had literally asked for this entire situation. She wanted a break. She wanted to be roommates. She just wanted it on her terms only. She wanted all the benefits with none of the responsibilities. That night she posted on social media about her abusive ex who was making her homeless because he could not handle a strong woman needing space. About how men cannot stand when women want independence. About how toxic masculinity ruins relationships. My phone blew up with messages from mutual friends. I posted my own update. Interesting how taking a relationship break means I still have to pay 70% of expenses. Anyway, who needs a roommate? I am moving out of my current place end of month. 2-bedroom, great neighborhood. Rent is affordable if you have a job and pay bills on time. The comments were chaos. Mutual friends were picking sides. Her friends were calling me every name in the book. My friends were saying I was completely justified. But here is the kicker. 3 people messaged me about actually needing a roommate, including someone I did not expect. Colton's ex-girlfriend Reese. Hey, saw you need a roommate. I need one too. Weird coincidence, right? My ex just started dating someone new and I need him out ASAP. Want to get coffee and talk? Oh, this was about to get very interesting. Update 3. Reese and I met for coffee at a place halfway between our apartments. She was direct, no nonsense. I liked that immediately. So Colton is your ex, I said, and Brienne is yours, she replied, and they are currently together. How long were you and Colton together? 3 years, living together for 1. He told me 2 months ago he needed a break to work on himself. We kept living together because it was practical. He said we could be mature about it. I laughed. That sounds extremely familiar. Reese pulled out her phone, started showing me texts between her and Colton from 3 weeks ago, right around when Brienne had suggested our break. He was asking Reese if she would be cool with him having friends over sometimes. Female friends, if she could maybe stay at her sister's place a few nights a week. Give him some space to figure himself out. We compared notes. The timelines matched perfectly. The language was almost identical. Colton and Brienne had clearly coordinated this, but here is the nuclear part. Colton had been telling Brienne he lived alone, that he had his own place. He had been having Reese stay at her sister's apartment whenever Brienne was supposed to come over. Reese found out the truth when she came home early from a family emergency. An emergency Colton had strongly encouraged her to go help with. She walked in to find women's underwear in their bed. Not her underwear, she packed a bag and left, came back the next day with her sister to get the full story. Colton tried to spin it, said it was complicated, that Reese did not understand, that they were on a break so it was not technically cheating. Reese was done, she wanted Colton out but could not afford their apartment alone. I needed a roommate for my new place. The math was simple, the karma was poetic. This is messy, I said. But also kind of perfect, or poetic, she replied. Look, I need someone who pays rent on time and cleans up after themselves. Can you do that? I can do that. Can you do that? I can. Do you have any weird habits I should know about? I game sometimes. Headphones on, door closed. I meal prep on Sundays. I go to bed early during the week. I do yoga in the morning. I am a teacher so I am home by 4 most days. I cannot stand passive-aggressive notes. I prefer direct communication anyway. I showed her a copy of the roommate agreement I had with Brienne. Reese read through it carefully. This is actually good, professional. Can we add a no dating clause? Neither of us dates the other or brings our exes around. I cannot handle that drama and I assume you cannot either. Absolutely, we shook on it. Signed a new agreement right there in the coffee shop. This was either the best decision or the worst decision, but at least it would definitely be interesting. Meanwhile, back at the apartment, Brienne had gone into overdrive. She used all my coffee pods, $60 worth, borrowed my laptop charger and lost it, invited 10 people over for a party without asking, played music until 3 in the morning every single night, started parking in my assigned spot. I documented everything. Sent daily invoices, she ignored them all. Then Monday of week 3 I got a text from an unknown number. "Hey man, this is Colton, we should talk, we met at a bar." This guy had the audacity to offer to buy me a beer for being cool about everything, like we were buddies, like he had not been sleeping with my girlfriend while lying to both of us. "Look," he said, "Brienne is great, but she is intense. She kind of pushed this whole break thing. I just wanted something casual. I did not sign up for all this drama." "And Reese?" I asked. I watched his face change. "You talked to Reese? She might be my new roommate." He went white, like actually pale. "You cannot do that to Bri." "Do what?" "Get a roommate with my ex." "That is messed up, man. Your ex that you are still living with while dating my ex. That kind of messed up. That is different." How? He could not answer. Just kept drinking his beer. Finally, he said, "Bri is going to lose it if you move in with Reese. Like actually lose it, not my problem anymore. You are evil, man. This is psychotic behavior. I am practical, like you guys wanted." He left money on the bar and walked out. I knew he was calling Brienne immediately. I was right. She burst through the apartment door 20 minutes later, absolutely screeching, "You are moving in with his ex." "With Reese? Are you actually insane?" "I am considering it. She needs a roommate. I need a roommate. The finances work out." "That is psychotic. You are doing this to hurt me." "Everything is not about you, Brienne. I need a place to live. She needs a roommate. We both want responsible adults who pay bills on time. That is it. I will make your life hell. I swear to God I will make you regret this. You already are making my life difficult. At least with Reese the rent will actually be paid on time. That is more than I can say about my current living situation." She threw a glass at the wall. It shattered everywhere. I calmly took a photo and added $30 to her invoice. "Apartment damage," she screamed and went to her room. The next day I signed the lease with Reese, not because of revenge, but because she actually had her finances together. Had great references from previous roommates, wanted similar things in a living situation: peace, respect, people who pay their bills and clean up after themselves, but I would be lying if I said the karma was not absolutely delicious. Final update: moving day arrived. I had packed everything methodically over the previous week. Hired movers for 8 in the morning. Brienne was supposed to be at work but called in sick specifically to supervise my move. She sat on the couch in her pajamas watching everything with red eyes. "Do not you dare take anything that is mine. Would not dream of it." She followed the movers around checking every single box. When they took the TV she freaked out. "That is ours. We bought that together." I showed her the receipt I had saved, my name, my credit card. Purchased 3 months before we even moved in together. But we shared it. For 2 years we shared it. You wanted to be roommates. Roommates do not share TVs. They have their own things. She tried calling the cops. They actually showed up. Looked at my receipts and documentation. Told her it was a civil matter, that she needed to take it to small claims court if she thought she had a case. She melted down so hard they almost arrested her for disturbing the peace. As the movers loaded the last box I handed her a final invoice. $2,847, itemized breakdown, unpaid rent portion, utilities, food she ate, damaged items, noise violations per our agreement. "You can Venmo me or I can take you to small claims court. Your choice." "You are insane." She ripped up the invoice. I pulled out another copy from my folder. I made extras, plus I have it saved digitally with all the supporting documentation. The landlord showed up for the final walkthrough. Perfect timing. Remember all that documentation I had been doing? Every noise complaint, every damage, every violation. I gave him copies of everything, photos, time-stamped notes, the whole file. He looked at the broken glass she never cleaned up. The stains on the carpet from her wine nights. The hole in the wall from when she threw her phone during a fight with Colton. "Miss Brienne," he said, "you will be losing your security deposit. Actually, you will owe an additional $400 in damages beyond the deposit amount. We paid that deposit together." She protested. "This is not fair." "Actually," I said, showing the landlord our bank records, "I paid the full deposit. $2,000. She was supposed to pay me back her half but never did. The landlord cut me a check for my full deposit on the spot, made out to just my name." Brienne stood there crying. Her phone was blowing up with texts from Colton about me moving in with Reese. Her friends were messaging about money she owed them too. Apparently she had been borrowing from everyone trying to make her expenses. The whole house of cards was collapsing. The aftermath was better than I could have imagined. Reese and I turned out to be great roommates. We respect boundaries, pay bills on time, split everything fairly. We ironically became good friends, bonding over our mutual disaster exes. We have a strict no dating clause in our agreement. Neither of us needs that drama. Colton got kicked out by Reese with a formal eviction notice her lawyer drew up. He tried to move in with Brienne, but she could not get approved for an apartment because of the debt and damage on her rental history. They both ended up moving back with their parents in separate cities. Last I heard they broke up after 2 weeks of living in their childhood bedrooms. Brienne blamed him for ruining her life. He blamed her for being too high maintenance. Brienne never paid the invoice. I took her to small claims court. Won by default when she did not even show up to defend herself. Now she has a judgment against her. Her friends mostly took my side after realizing she owed them all money too. Adeline actually apologized saying she did not know the full story. 6 months later, Brienne texted me from a new number. I know you hate me, but I realize now I messed up. You were an amazing boyfriend and I threw it away for nothing. Colton was a mistake. The whole thing was a mistake. Can we talk, please? I replied. Per our agreement, all communications should be about outstanding debts only. You still owe $3,047 with interest. Payment plans available. She blocked me. Reese saw the text and laughed so hard she snorted her coffee. We high-fived and went back to our separate lives like proper roommates. My brother said I was savage. My mom said I was brilliant. My dad just said never date someone who cannot do basic math. Solid advice. Oh, and the best part, I am dating someone new, Piper from my climbing gym. She thinks the whole story is hilarious. First thing she said when we decided to be exclusive was, just so we are clear, if we ever move in together and I want a break, I am moving out. I can do math. She is definitely a keeper. To everyone saying I was too harsh, she wanted to pause our relationship but keep all the benefits. She wanted independence without responsibility. She wanted to test drive a new guy while I paid for her parking spot. Actions meet consequences. They have been waiting to meet you.